respected External Affairs Minister Srimati Sushma Swaraj, Foreign Secretary Dr. S. J. Shankar, Secretary East Srimati Preeti Saran, Additional Secretary and Official Spokesperson of the Ministry Mr. Vikas Saroop, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, friends from the media, a warm welcome to all of you to the BRICS Media Forum on this mid-October morning. For delivering the welcome address, I have the pleasure to invite Secretary East, Ms. Preeti Saran.
Good morning and namaste. Respected External Affairs Minister Srimati Sushma Swaraj, Foreign Secretary, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, friends from the media, a very warm welcome to all of you for the BRICS Media Forum. Like many of you gathered here today, we arrived yesterday after the successful completion of the 8th BRICS Summit and the BRICS BIMSTEC outreach meeting. Our memories are fresh, and there is renewed energy and enhanced focus on our common goals. Many of you would have written your follow-up pieces or examined the outcome documents from the summits. I think there is no better way than our today's forum of the BRICS media that will bring together our thoughts of the summit, even as you find old friends and seek new ones. For our friends in the media, all of those who have traveled from Brazil, Russia, China, and South Africa, as well as those from India who have come to attend this forum, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the Ministry of External Affairs. Your participation will ensure the forum maintains the quality and tempo of the 115 plus engagements in the BRICS framework that have already taken place under India's chairmanship. I'm certain that the panel discussions that will follow will no doubt be an enriching source of debate and discussions as we go forward. The topics that have been selected are topical and present ample opportunity for a review of the BRICS process. The first panel is appropriately entitled BRICS in a Changing World, Media Perceptions. As continuing global economic difficulties remain, how can the BRICS grouping rise to the challenge? How successful have we been at proposing alternatives to an international order? If the first panel asks these big questions from the perspective of the media, the second one looks at it from another perspective altogether. In short, what is the role of the media in intra-BRICS cooperation? From theoretical perspectives on fair and objective reporting that seeks to displace prejudices and stereotypes to practical protocols on expanding cooperation between agencies, the spectrum for a new understanding in the fields is enormous. The final panel of the day will focus on the future that is rapidly becoming the present. What is the BRICS approach to social and digital media? How can our various organizations leverage synergies, seek best practices, and play a role in training and critical capacity building? These are important questions as well. It is a particular honor and privilege for us to have the presence of the External Affairs Minister for the inauguration of this forum. Srimati Sushma Swaraj, our External Affairs Minister, needs no special introduction. Through her long and distinguished career in India's public life, she has held numerous posts, including being India's youngest cabinet minister at the age of 25, the Chief Minister of Delhi, and the leader of the opposition. As India's top diplomatic voice over the last 2 years, she has pushed the norms of India's diplomatic engagement further than ever before, even as she has become the guardian to Indians in distress abroad, using the power of the social media to reach out with compassion and kindness. Her presence here, as also that of the Foreign Secretary, is a testament to the importance we attach to the role of media within the BRICS context. It is now my proud privilege to kindly invite Honorable External Affairs Minister to deliver the keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. Namaskar, good morning. Excellencies, our honored guests, senior editors and journalists from the BRICS nations, distinguished friends from Indian media. I am delighted to join you all at the inauguration of the BRICS Media Forum. Just 2 days ago, you have seen the successful completion of the BRICS Summit in Goa. Some of you were there, and others would have observed it through the work of your colleagues in digital or print media. There is a certain appropriateness in the conduct of a media forum at the conclusion of a summit. This provides an opportunity for review and evaluation, for marking one more milestone along our common journey. It is through your eyes, friends, that much of the world has seen the summit. It is through the prism of your words, they have interpreted it. We have always looked upon BRICS as a template for a new approach to global governance in the 21st century. Our 5 nations represent the voice of the changing world, and our approach to the global issues signifies a convergence across different continents on the opportunities and challenges that await us. 9 months ago, when India took over the chair of BRICS, we laid out an ambitious agenda, premised on the theme of building responsive, inclusive, and collective solutions. We unveiled plans to raise the level of our engagement across sectors. As we approach the end of the chairmanship, our record speaks for itself. A total of 115 BRICS events have been held. This includes 2 parliamentary meetings, 15 ministerial meetings, and 56 meetings of senior officials and working groups. We have also organized 27 workshops and seminars, 3 track 2 and 5 business events. Through each of these meetings, not only have we raised the number of our cross-cutting interactions, but we have also sought to focus on the output from the various discussions. I myself have been pleased to inaugurate some events and to meet with the participants of these. Each workshop and seminar, each conclave and conference have in turn renewed and re-energized our sectoral engagements. The networks of connections that have been built and the partnerships that have been conceived in their wake will assume a life of their own in the days to come. India this time brought a practical, informal, and effective approach as the chair to the BRICS. Let me share with you that at Goa, this was recognized and appreciated by the other nations. It was reflected not only in the quality of the discussions at the summit, but in the activities preceding it. Essentially, we took the BRICS outside the conference room and endeavored to instill it in popular thinking. To do that, we partnered organizations and activities across the breadth of civil society. We were conscious that the BRICS not only represents more than 1/3 of humanity, but is also a powerful voice of hope for future generations. It is for this reason that in line with Prime Minister Modi's vision, we have sought to lay particular emphasis on the people-to-people linkages that will bring our nations closer. So, a unique aspect of the 115 meetings was that they were not only held in Delhi and our major cities, but through the length and breadth of India. This was the case from the BRICS Film Festival to the Under-17 football tournament, from the Friendship Cities Conclave and Urbanization Forum to the Handicraft Artisans Exchange Program and Digital Conclave, from the Young Diplomats Forum to the Youth Summit and Young Scientists Conclave. This way, India's chairmanship has sought to build a new constituency amongst our peoples and our youth, a building bricks, if you will, for the future. Friends, from its very inception, BRICS has focused on issues of development and economic growth. addressing challenges confronting the world, and encouraging the emergence of a more equitable and sustainable global architecture. Initially, the deliberation of BRICS concentrated more on economic and financial issues. But over the years, it has broadened to cover larger global issues, even as it has promoted the creation of BRICS institutions and mechanisms. Key initiatives like a BRICS rating agency that can complement the new development bank, or the Railways Research Network and an agriculture research platform that will allow us to leverage our specific strengths for mutual benefit, are tangible goals that we believe can take the group forward. There has always been an overarching political context for the BRICS meetings, which essentially underlines that a serious global discourse cannot be the preserve of a few countries with a narrow agenda. The 8th BRICS Summit represented a further advancement in terms of the breadth and focus of its discussions. While our economic engagement and political cooperation remain key factors, there is a sharper realization that global development and prosperity is very much dependent on continued peace and security. Terrorism is universally recognized as a key threat to stability, progress, and development. Consequently, it featured strongly in the conference narrative and its eventual outcome. Indeed, what we saw was not just an understanding of the dangers posed by terrorism to the economic aspirations of the world, but a growing recognition that this has now become a truly global challenge that the international community can only ignore at its peril. There is a developing consensus that it cannot be business as usual. We must be prepared to extract costs for those who sponsor and support terrorists, who provide them sanctuary, and who, despite their own claimed victimhood, continue to make the false distinction between good and bad terrorists. BRICS has always been global in its approach, and today there is no bigger global challenge than state-sponsored and state-protected terrorism. The selection of BIMSTEC as the outreach group for the Goa summit is also worth reflecting upon. Members of BIMSTEC, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Thailand today represent the polar opposite of a terrorism promoting polity. They are focused on improving the quality of life of their people, on skills and employment, on education and health, and on the quality of governance and the deepening of democracy. These are nations who are actively promoting connectivity, cooperation, and context amongst themselves. Their interface with the BRICS has a message in itself. This is that a world changing in a positive direction, as reflected by the BRICS, has its regional expression in a community like BIMSTEC that is able to visualize a prosperous collective future. There cannot be a greater contrast with those who reject even trade and connectivity for political reasons. One aspect of the BRICS engagement is the interaction of our respective national media. As interpreters and communicators, all of you play that crucial role of not merely keeping us informed, but in influencing opinions and shaping outcomes. Through your work, we are reminded of our shared goals and our common challenges. And on account of your always critical eye, we are mindful of the opportunities that remain, of the paths that remain untraveled. So I am certain that the panel discussions that will follow today will no doubt be an enriching source of debate and discussion as we go forward. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, in Goa, we have strengthened the institutional foundation of the BRICS and set it on the path of seeking collective solutions. This will not only help propel the BRICS nations forward, but also be a voice of hope, peace, and prosperity for the entire world. Now, over to you to carry this message as far and as wide as possible. I am sure the BRICS Media Forum will mark an important milestone in this shared journey of ours. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful and illuminating address. May I
with her presence. Her keynote address very succinctly addressed the key themes of India's chairmanship of BRICS and the thought behind our decision to invite the BIMSTEC leaders for the outreach. I thank Foreign Secretary Dr. S. Jaishankar for joining us on this occasion despite his many pressing commitments. Secretary Srimati Preeti Saran also arrived, like me, at 10 p.m. last night from Goa, yet accommodated our request to deliver the welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels have to start rolling months ago. I have been fortunate to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues who worked on the nuts and bolts of the media forum with the active support and coordination of the embassies, both in Delhi and in BRICS capitals, even as most of us were in Goa handling the media and publicity-related aspects of the two summits. The summit in Goa may be over, but our work, whether to implement the decisions or to inform and interpret them for our citizens, continues. And that is why my biggest thank you goes out to all of you, our moderators, panelists, and discussants from India, Brazil, China, Russia, and South Africa. Many of you have traveled long distances to be here. All of you have taken time out of your busy schedules to join us. This is your forum. We in the XP division have merely provided you the platform. I'm sure with your active participation, this forum will be energized, enriched, and eventually institutionalized as one of the key pillars of intra-BRICS cooperation. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the inaugural session. Please join us now for some refreshments in the foyer before we begin the first panel discussion.